Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we return to talking about the now infamous opening speech Ricky Gervais gave at the Golden Globe Awards last weekend. He totally called out the hypocrites in Hollywood then, to their faces no less. And he did it in such a funny, witty, and poignant way, even many of the celebrities in the room couldn't help but laugh at it. Many others didn't though, as awkward looks and later awkward speeches soon followed his stellar but scathing introduction. But despite Ricky warning everyone at the show not to get political that day, because not only are these rich coastal elites out of touch, they also are in no position to be telling anyone anything, unless we're talking about reading lines, operating cameras, or putting on makeup or something. And well, despite Gervais's warning, justification, and blatant call-out, many decided to proceed with their political, liberal propaganda pushing nonsense anyway. One actress in particular ended up looking really bad too. Patricia Arquette won another Golden Globe again this year, and she also decided to again use her platform to preach to Americans about politics, telling us what to do even though she has no authority or good reason to do so. Keep in mind, we're not just talking about your typical rich and pampered Hollywood celebrity here. Patricia is part of the Arquette acting family, 3 generations of performers who have been far detached from the real world long before Patty was even born. Basically, Patricia was born into this, and she never worked a real job or suffered or had to struggle for anything in her entire life. Needless to say, she has no idea how the real world works, or how things are out there for us in the lower middle and upper class American society. With all that said, today we're going to go over a heavily downvoted video where Patricia Arquette attempts to slam Ricky Gervais about his monologue in the worst and most pathetic way possible. But before we get to that video, let's first take a moment to hear from our loyal sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Are you tired of fluffy, cartoonish looking video games? Because not every RPG game must be cartoony or cutesy. Let's get into a real dark, raw, epic, and awesome fantasy while playing Raid Shadow Legends. Just check out this excellent footage of me playing the game myself because it's a lot of fun to watch. You can see lots of cool things in the game, like their awesome menu, index screen, and a portal that's on the left side of the home screen that shows you all your characters. Now you can play Raid both on your mobile devices and on your computer's desktop. The game crosses multiple devices too, so you can play with the same username and switch between devices at will, whenever you want and however you like. In addition, the graphics are amazing, especially in the PC version, which runs super fast as well. What I like most about playing on the PC is you can multitask and check your emails and listen to music while you grind out those fun raid matches. If you're interested, just go to the video's description and click on my special links. And if you're a new player, you'll get 100,000 silver plus 1 free new champion named Slasher. Very cool. So if you want to play Raid, sign up today and all this treasure will be waiting for you here in this video's description. Good luck to you guys out there, and I'll see you on the battlefield. Great, now that that's out of the way, let's get back to Patricia Arquette. She had a very terrible, troubling, but interesting interview with Extra immediately following the Golden Globes last week. And I have a lot to say about it too, but first, let's jump into some clips so you can see what I'm talking about.
Oh my gosh, that's wild. I mean, it's not that often that I win awards. I did win last year, but
it feels like the last few years it has been you and only you, and you're like you are killing it.
Aw, thanks so much.
Okay, first of all, I have to say it. What is up with Patty's look right now? I thought these Hollywood types had good stylists and fashion people who could help them look better on camera. And well, whoever is in charge of Patricia Arquette's image really needs to be fired right now. Not only does she have half a bowl cut, looking like a female version of Simple Jack, but also her face is just looking scary. And she's got this over-the-top cleavage up there on her chest, showing off those fake things way more than she should. Let's also keep in mind here, this woman is someone's mother too. Yet she goes out and parades herself around at award shows like this, like she's some kind of retired stripper or something. Not to focus on her looks too much, but it does say something about someone, especially when they're falling apart like this. Like, should we really be taking political advice from someone who looks like this and goes out in public looking this way? It really baffles me that women like this can go out half naked and then they can also expect to be taken seriously about politics. Not a chance. Those things don't match up. You're being incongruent. And the only thing I would trust a person like this to do is to get me another drink at a sports bar. This is also a good time to note how overly affectionate and supportive this Extra host girl and her show are being. She's kissing Patricia's ass pretty much as hard as humanly possible. And this is the kind of sycophantic behavior from the press that makes these Hollywood elitists think they're so special in the first place. And it's what makes them think people should be listening to them when we really shouldn't. Sure, you can ask them about acting, writing, directing, or special effects, and then maybe they'd have something interesting and relevant to say, but to hear them get compliments for commenting on things like Australian wildfires or the political dealings of our US president in relation to world powers no less, well, that's where this needs to stop. It's like asking your car's mechanic what his thoughts on pizza making are, or asking your doctor how to paint a lifelike portrait of a famous world leader. Basically, we're going to the wrong people for this kind of advice.
This blows my mind. I mean, because I won last year too, I thought there's no way I'll never win again that soon. It's just an incredible honor. Also, all my fellow nominees gave spectacular performances. So
here's where we can start to realize this lady is not exactly all there in the head. Sure, she can pull off acting and she can put on good performances in controlled situations, but going even somewhat off the cuff in a live, more pressured setting, and Patty can barely form coherent sentences. More than likely, she's either burned out from doing so many drugs when she was younger, or she's still popping pills like a maniac to this day. Perhaps it's a little bit of both, and with that said, we've got another reason not to listen to this woman and her idiotic social justice warrior influence pandering and her pushing of liberal propaganda.
What do you think of Ricky Gervais? He obviously gives zeros, but what did you think of his opening monologue?
Well, I thought it was funny. He told people not to be political, but he was political. So then I just said, no mansplaining. Forget it. We do what we want to do.
Yikes. And that ass-kissing extra host just laughs along like what Patty said actually made sense. It didn't. First of all, Ricky Gervais didn't actually get political. He didn't take sides or push for issues or anything like that. All Ricky did was call out the room and make some jokes about stupid stuff that Hollywood has been doing lately. Then he called out others who he knew were about to get political with their speeches. And guess what? Ricky was right too. Many did give political speeches despite being predicted and called out beforehand. Another example of this was the politicizing of the Australian wildfires at that show. We went over this issue in another video, but basically at least 2 different celebs mentioned the fires there and asked for awareness and support, and ending it there could have almost been fine too, but then they chose to politicize the issue, falsely tying it to climate change, even though there's no direct evidence of that connection whatsoever. But back to Patricia's terrible response now. As I said, Ricky wasn't political, so her saying he was is just her lame excuse for getting political herself. Then she goes on to say he was mansplaining, and well, now I can't even. Not only has Gervais not been mansplaining because he was addressing everyone, males and females, but also mansplaining is just a bogus made-up SJW word used to belittle men and act as if our words don't matter because we're male and inferior now, at least according to them. Saying someone mansplained to you is also just a big sign of weakness to me. Patricia can't react and rebuke Ricky Gervais properly and directly, so she wants to pretend he was being sexist and anti-female when he really wasn't. There was nothing to do with gender in Gervais's speech at all. Patricia just felt attacked because she knew she was going to say something political and dumb. And then when she got preemptively called out, she just chalked that up to sexism because according to SJW women like this, everything done against them or even just things they don't like, that's sexist and wrong. And women are always right and perfect about everything.
And obviously winning has got to be the highlight.
And also everyone talking about these fires. It's a very serious thing.
Yeah, it means a lot. I just landed from Australia, and so for me, to come here and have everybody paying attention to it means a lot.
Does it really mean as much as they say though? All I see is a bunch of woke celebrities virtue signaling and trying to get attention by pretending to care about tragedies far removed from them. Perhaps raising awareness could help somewhat, but it's far from the overblown, life-changing, world-saving impact these ditzy girls in this video claim it will have. Really, if they actually wanted to help, they would either be donating large amounts of money or they could even go to Australia themselves, volunteer, help people who actually need it, and perhaps put out a few fires themselves. Sounds like a lot to ask, but I'm not the one trying to get social currency off of this horrible situation. These celebrities are exploiting the deaths of many Australians, and many more animals and forests have been destroyed too, and the left is trying to piggyback off those disasters to get themselves woke points and positive attention in the press or interviews. All of this is being done while they're pretending they're big heroes when really they're not.
Feel like change is being made? Do you feel the progress?
I definitely feel like this conversation's broken open, whether people are liking it or not. I mean, look, we're on the brink of passing the Equal Rights Amendment, ratifying it in the 38th state. There are changes happening.
Wait, what? Ratifying the Equal Rights Amendment in the 38th state? What the hell is this Looney Tune even talking about? The ERA was some failed legislative plan from the 1970s, a bold, perhaps naive attempt to ratify an amendment officially declaring equal rights in the United States. This didn't end up panning out completely on paper though, even though we do have other equal rights laws and rules and regulations, but fortunately, we also have equal rights altogether, so there's no need to pursue this tired and old pipe dream any further. But apparently, in recent years, some radical liberals like Arquette have been trying to bring this issue back. A couple of new states have ratified the ERA since 2017, and last year, the plan almost got its 38th state too, which is what Patty was mentioning here, albeit in a confusing way. I guess she assumes people know what the hell she's talking about, but she needs to get out of her bubble and realize this nonsense is some niche, low-level radical SJW BS, and it's inside baseball-like stuff, so to assume everyone knows is a bit presumptuous. In addition, and probably worst of all the things here is, we already have equal rights in America and in the Western world, so passing an equal rights amendment would be totally redundant in 2020, unless someone wants to start telling me what rights aren't equal right now, because I really can't think of any.
There's been some rollbacks also as far as equal pay and all of that. The states in America that have the biggest pay discrepancy, there's no pending legislation to change that.
Speaking of pay discrepancies, this lady complaining about equal pay is worth $24 million. I'm pretty sure I can think of many male celebrities in show business who have far less money than that. Does that mean Patty should be giving up her money or be paid less so as to make men more money and make things equal? Of course not. SJWs only want to do something when they think they can prove women are getting paid less. Essentially, when they're crying about equal pay, it's not actually about equality at all. It's about trying to get women even more money, even if they're working less at less profitable professions. The whole backbone of this equal pay narrative the left pushes is based on hogwash too. One old study that they continue to misinterpret purposely for years, all the way up until this day. The truth here is there already is equal pay for each job individually, and the reason sometimes women make less on average is because they work less, and they work at easier, lower paying workplaces.
We're having conversations that have been thousands of years in the making, and it gives us the opportunity to have a more respectful mutual relationship with men and women, and hopefully will evolve and have
thousands of years in the making. Come on, lady, get your shit together. You're not saving the world here. You're not some kind of superhero. And you speaking out and demanding more money for women isn't going to bring better balance between you and the men. What you're asking for is special treatment and more money for doing less. And sure, you masquerade this movement as if you're trying to reach equality, but the truth is we're already equal, and paying people differently based on race or gender is already illegal. But despite that, you're still not happy. And that's why people like Patty preach their liberal dogma and their SJW bullshit too. It's because money, fame, special treatment, and living in Hollywood's bubble isn't enough for people like this. They also want to preach to the world and control everyone else's politics too. At least that's how I see it. And I think you guys do too after today, because we can see elitist leftists like Patty Arquette will never be happy. And also, they don't know shit about what they're preaching despite their vigorous enthusiasm and the large platforms they're being given. What do you guys think? Was Ricky Gervais mansplaining, or is Patty just using SJW buzzwords to try and justify her silly political speech? Comment your thoughts on everything below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. Hit that like button to help support this channel, and we'll see y'all next time.